I'm ready for my weigh-in. I feel like I'm at my lightest today. All right. What? Why am I 800 grams more? I need to call Ben right now. I need to call coach.
Tina's calling. Hello, Ben speaking.
Coach, I don't know why my weight is 800 grams more. I don't understand. I was like 800.
Tina? Oh, easy. Why are you screaming at me? Tina, relax, relax. Your weight is different, I understand. I'm just about to train a client. Just chill. I'll call you back later, all right? Oh, the phone is ringing again. It's gotta be Tina. Okay, Tina, look, you've called me 25 times today and we've spoken about your weight. And I know how your weight fluctuates through the day, but there's several reasons on why that can be. Oh, sorry, Roger?
Coach, help me, I'm losing weight. What's happening?
Oh, no, Roger, you too? Oh, what's going on? Hey guys, it's Ben Seong here from Learn Australian Strength Performance and Learn ASP. We're going to talk about weight today. Why have I chosen this topic? Because weight is one of those integral things that most people use to measure their progress. If you come to the gym and you're looking for any sort of fat loss or body composition or weight loss, you always want to look at the numbers on the scale. For some reason, those numbers seem to have a dramatic effect on your mood and how you perceive your progress. Now, we know that numbers form part of the equation. Obviously, we want to look at your body fat percentage, the muscle mass that you put on, and a whole range of other variables that may be involved in this equation of weight loss or weight gain. However, most people seem to be extremely fixated on the numbers they see on the scale. So, why would your weight fluctuate throughout the entire day? Why do those numbers not stay consistent or move in the right direction that you might want it to? Today, I'll give you 6 reasons on why your weight may actually fluctuate, and these are the reasons to consider next time that you stand on the scale. Perhaps you haven't put on the weight that you thought, or perhaps you haven't lost the amount of weight that you thought you did. So here are the 6 reasons. The first point of why your weight may fluctuate is a very obvious point. I don't think a lot of people do take it into consideration. And that is, what are you wearing when you're weighing yourself? Is it consistent with every single weigh that you are doing? So for example, you could be weighing yourself with a jacket on the first time you weigh yourself, and the next time you weigh yourself, you could be weighing yourself without the jacket. It makes a huge difference on what you're wearing. Remember the phone call of Tina earlier, who called me 20 times about her weight? Have a look at Tina. She's got one shoe on and she's holding her phone complaining. Now, a shoe and a phone makes a big difference in weight. So if you don't think it matters, it actually does. And this can cause your weight to fluctuate. The second reason of why your weight may fluctuate is what time of the day are you actually weighing yourself. Now understand, the best time to weigh yourself is first thing in the morning after you've gone to the toilet, perhaps for a number 1 or number 2, and you are standing on the scales with no clothes on. Now, probably that will give you the most accurate weight of what you actually are. However, remember, if you have clothes on or you haven't taken a poo, for example, you could be heavier. Furthermore, if you already had breakfast, you had some water in you, you would also weigh heavier than you actually are. 1 liter of water is 1 kilo. So if you're drinking a liter of water, for some of you that may love to drink water in the morning, you will be 1 kilo heavier on the scales based on water. Now, if you took a piss and that 1 kilo of water came out, you'd be 1 kilo lighter. So understand that your weight may fluctuate quite a bit based on what you are having, and that's why it is probably best to weigh yourself first thing in the morning after going to the toilet with no clothes on, and that will give you a really good base measure of your weight. Now, reason number 3 of why your weight may actually fluctuate is based on sleep or the lack of. Now, we understand that sleep is such an important, a critical time where your body recovers and regenerates. The lack of sleep often leads to some sort of inflammation. Often you tend to wake up puffier, you tend to store a lot more water under the skin. from a subcutaneous point of view, and that may actually cause your weight to fluctuate. Some people become lighter because of the lack of recovery, some actually become puffier and heavier. And this was the call you saw me receive from my good client Roger earlier on, and Roger there was extremely emotional because his weight wasn't where it should be, or where he wanted it to be. Well, Roger didn't have good sleep, and that is a key component of why your weight could fluctuate. Now, point number 4 that we're going to focus on is a big point. It's point of inflammation. Inflammation is a response that your body has towards higher stress levels. So stress, as we spoke about earlier, could come from the fact that you are not sleeping properly or not recovering well, but often people don't look at the areas of stress that could be caused by food, for example. Now, food stress is a major area that a lot of us do not give any importance or enough credit to. And what I mean by that is often the foods that you take in, how many of you monitor the fact that you become bloated after eating certain foods, or you don't sleep well after a particular meal? How many of you actually realize that you become puffier or hold more water under the skin based on the types of foods that you take in? And these are all signs of inflammation. So if you're eating the wrong foods that could potentially inflame your body, when you weigh yourself, your body holds on to an excessive amount of water, typically subcutaneous water under the skin, that causes you to be heavier than you actually are. And when the person starts to cut out the foods they're intolerant to, they'll probably find that their weight drops pretty fast. And this is because the body reduces the inflammation that is being caused by those particular foods. Now, typically you might find foods such as breads that contain gluten, or so for some people it could be nuts, for some people it could be milk products, or even soy or refined sugar. These particular foods can cause a gut reaction and an intolerance, and that could cause your body to hold on to more artificial fat or water subcutaneously and cause you to be heavier. So gut stress was the example that I gave, but inflammation as a whole could also happen during the time of the month for a female, so during PMS. This is where there is higher stress levels, where the uterus is inflamed, and the body tends to hold on to a lot more fluid. So again, a function of inflammation. So right after that period of PMS, right after the first few days of the period, all of a sudden the body flushes out that excess water and the weight drops again. So as you can see, inflammation could be a major cause of why someone's weight could fluctuate up or down. Point number 5 is in relation to carbs, carbohydrates. Now, if you're someone that has been on a low-carb diet plan or a nutrition plan and have gone out to feast on a whole bunch of carbs, let's say it's your refeed meal or your cheat meal, you probably find that your weight will escalate and jump quite a bit the following day. One main reason is not because you have gained 2 to 3 kilos of fat, but because carbohydrates as a source, a macronutrient source, actually stores a lot of water. It holds on to water. So it's a bulk food. When you take in a lot of carbs, carbs tend to hold a lot of water, especially within the body itself. And this is why you tend to be significantly heavier after having a carb-based meal. Now remember as well, this becomes more profound if you're on a low-carb diet and all of a sudden you've introduced your body to a large amount of carbohydrates. This is when your body's soaking in those carbs and the water that comes with it is causing you to put on that excess amount of weight. Now, typically, if I worked with clients who are leaning down and they have a refeed meal, I expect their weight to jump after that refeed meal. And typically, after day 4 days after the refeed meal, I also expect their weight to drop quite significantly, ideally back to the weight where they first started without the meal or even lower. So understand that carbohydrates as a macronutrient source could be a contributor to why your weight would suddenly jump. And this is not to say that you put on fat overnight, because that wouldn't happen. That merely goes to show that is the nature of carbohydrates. Have that in your consideration. Now, the last point I'm going to give you, point number 6, is probably the simplest point that most people also don't consider. And that is, what scale are you using to measure yourself? Say you step on a scale at home and you might be 7 kilos at home. Then you go to the gym and you step on the gym scale and all of a sudden you're 72. Now that doesn't mean you've put on 2 kilos in a matter of 1 hour traveling to the gym. That clearly goes to show that the scales on which you weigh yourself have a different base calibration. So if you're going to weigh yourself, make sure you choose the same scale to weigh yourself at the same time every day. And if you've paid attention to what I said earlier, you should be weighing yourself first thing in the morning after going to the toilet, and that's probably the most accurate time to weigh yourself, and also without any clothes, right? So that gives you a baseline. Weigh yourself on the same scales using the same methodology each time to ensure that there is a uniform consistency with your weight. Now, if you're jumping on different scales, then expect those numbers to be different because they have a different base calibration. All right, guys, so here are the 6 points you need to consider when weighing yourself. Point number 1, make sure you're consistent in what you're wearing when you're weighing yourself. Point number 2, what is the time of the day in which you're weighing yourself? The best time of the day to take your weight is first thing in the morning after you've gone to the toilet, and ideally without any clothes, so that takes a good, accurate base weight. Point number 3, are you sleeping enough? The lack of sleep can actually cause your weight to fluctuate quite a bit. Point number 4, inflammation. Inflammation can come from a variety of different factors. We spoke about stress and how that leads to inflammation. And most people don't consider gut stress. That's a big point where inflammation should be considered with, as well as if you're a female going through PMS and period, that is a period of time where your body is highly inflamed and you potentially could hold on to a lot more water in your body that could cause your weight to fluctuate. Point number 5 is carb intake. If you are increasing your carb intake all of a sudden, then understand the amount of carbs that go into your body can cause your weight to shift, causing your body to store a lot more water. That's not fat, that is water storage that will flush out of your body soon. And the last point, point number 6, is are you using the same scale to weigh yourself? If you're using something different, then expect a different reading because every scale has a different base calibration. So I hope this video summed up a good amount of information on weight and gave you a better idea on when to take your weight and how weight should be assessed. Now don't forget to like, to subscribe, and guys, I will see you in our next video.